Hi there, we want you to join the conversation. It's Take Two with Jerry and Debbie getting underway here on a Wednesday on EWTN Radio. I am Jerry Usher along with the globe-trotting Debbie Georgiani, who last week was in Buffalo for the Station of the Cross Pledge Drive. And Debbie, where are you this week?
Toledo, Ohio, Annunciation Radio. I'm actually in Deacon Mike and Chris Learned's dining room, Chris Learned's childhood home. It's absolutely beautiful in Toledo, Ohio, and I'm looking out at grass, Jerry. I don't see much grass in Arizona.
You mean there's not sand and gravel and all kinds of brown stuff out there?
Desert landscaping in Arizona. This is real thick blade grass. I think I just want to go out and just have a picnic.
Well, good. How is the Annunciation Radio Pledge Drive doing so far?
It's going just fabulously well. We got to spend a full hour with Bishop Daniel Thomas of the Diocese of Toledo, and oh my goodness, what an amazing bishop, and just a fabulous time. People are calling in and pledging, and 8 years they've been going strong in Toledo and the surrounding areas. And I'll tell you, Jerry, it's very encouraging to hear all the testimonies coming in on how Catholic radio has changed lives and helped with families, helped keep children in the faith. And it's really, I see why we do this work, Jerry, because it's very rewarding to hear the life stories of people and how Catholic radio has impacted their lives.
Yeah, and Real Presence Radio, their live drive is going on this week as well. And again, wherever you are, folks, give a couple bucks, you know? I mean, what do you get out of Catholic radio? Please, it's worth a little something back in return from you. And that's just our little hope and prayer that you will take that opportunity. But today, Debbie, we're going to be talking, you mentioned keeping kids in the faith, and we're going to be talking about just how parents approach parenting, how moms and dads approach, their own kids. And of course, we know there's no manual that comes with parenting, and there are different ways to parent every single child. So even within a family, Debbie, you know this, you had more than one child. You had two sons. So you have to kind of look at, how do I parent this one versus that one? So we want to talk today about parenting with purpose.
It's very interesting, Jerry. I thought a lot about this topic, and I think did you come up with this topic? Mm-hmm. You did, yeah. It's really an interesting topic because there's this phrase now being used a lot with new parents, calling helicopter parents, those that kind of just, hover over and, watch every move and every nuance of a child's development. And then there's the ones that just say, let the kids go out and play, let them learn on their own, let them develop, let them mature. It's a very interesting thing. When you talked about me having two boys, my oldest son, super easy. Super, super easy. And it's interesting because it's almost like God just knows to give you that easy one the first time, because then you're like, I could do this again. This is really easy. He ate anything. You could put him in front of a TV set. He would watch TV for hours. He'd play with the same toy over and over and over again. And he was just so easy to entertain and to take care of, and he was just a pleasant spirit. And then the second one came. And God, I just love him. Matthew is a gift of God. That's why we named him Matthew. But boy, oh boy, was he a free spirit. This one, you said it was time for dinner. He'd go running out of the house. You tell him, the dinner was spaghetti. I don't like spaghetti, but you liked spaghetti last night, but I don't like it now. So then we'd have to make something else. And some people would say, you shouldn't have done that. You should just make him eat what's at the table. But we catered to Matthew, and so I got these books on raising a free-spirited child. I didn't have to get those the first time. So when you're talking about all of these manuals, Jerry, other than books that have been written on it, I know Dr. Ray Guarendi has written many great books on it and stuff like that. But here's the thing. There's no real one way to parent a child. That's why I prayed a lot. I'd say, Lord, help me. Because, so I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but it's interesting especially if, I would love to hear from families that have 6 and 7 and 8 children. How do you do it with 8 different personalities in the household? I think it's quite fascinating. So we want to hear from you. Here's the number. Parenting with Purpose, 1-833-288-3986. That's the number to get on the show. Sorry about that, Jerry. I just had to share that.
No, I'm glad you did. And as people know, I've not been a parent, so I cannot relate from personal experience. But surely many of those who are listening right now can. And we want to hear from you how things work in your family, because as always, there are young couples listening, there are expectant mothers and expectant parents out there, and they're as we said, every child's going to be different, but. How do you parent with purpose? And by purpose, we mean, really just wanting to instill virtue and character into your kids, not smother them, give them their freedom. And, at what point do you kind of start to loosen your grip, let them do more things on their own, get the driver's license, drive the car, maybe go out on dates or be courted, if you will, if you want to put it that way. Do you impose a curfew, or do you kind of trust them? Do they have gadgets? Do they have cell phones? And is it for just staying in touch with you, or is that for just any purpose that they want? Do you have to make them go to Mass? Do you have to make them receive the sacraments like confirmation? How does this look in your family? 1-833-288-EWTN.
Well, Jerry, I want to share something, because this is a real life story that happened to my son when he began to drive. And as all parents can relate to this, when you give your children, the first time you give them the car keys to your car, you kind of hold your breath and you're thinking, oh, please, God, let them just, I want them to come home safe. You don't sleep until your kids are home and you can, lock the doors and the kids are home safe in the house. But when my older son, you talk about parenting with purpose. He still is very kind-hearted. He tries to lead with his Christianity in every situation. Well, when he was first driving, he was a brand new driver. He wanted to take the car to school, to high school. We let him take this car to school. A young boy ran into him with his bicycle. Okay, so the boy ran into my son. My son was in the right of way, and the boy ran into our car. And my poor son, he felt so bad for the kid. He didn't know the kid. It was a freshman, and he was older than that. He said, "Get in the car. I'll drive you home." And so my son was so worried about the boy. He didn't even think that this is, it could be a problem or not. Anyway, long story short. My poor son got a rude awakening. The parents were very upset. My son should have not taken him into the car, should not have taken him home. The parents were upset. And it was really unfortunate, because it was a hard lesson for my son to learn. Here my son was just trying to do the right thing and be Christian. He wasn't thinking who's at fault, who's not at fault, anything. He was just trying to do the right thing. And it was really unfortunate, because you saw him change a little bit that day, where he's like, wow, I can't even do the right thing. The boy was hurt. I wanted to take him home, when in fact, I guess the parents said you should have just called the police or called the ambulance, whatever. So the kid was fine, the boy that hit himself. But my point I'm trying to make is, it's very interesting. We as parents, we tell our kids, be Christian, do the right thing. But unfortunately, the world doesn't always accept that. And it's a hard lesson for our children to learn. So, that's a whole nother angle to this, Jerry, that we could discuss, is how do we keep our kids Christian in this, what I call a crazy world?
Yeah. Parenting with Purpose, 833-288-EWTN is the number to get you on the program. And while we have a couple of phone lines that are still open, I definitely encourage you to grab hold of one of those. We're going to get to your calls here in just a moment. Another question for you as a mom or a dad. Are you more vigilant due to the condition of our culture today than maybe your parents had to be with you? Do you look around, you really want to make sure that your kids are not going to be influenced by a lot of the negativity out there? 833-288-3986. Susan, we're going to go to you next, so stay with us.
Jumpstart your faith. Now coming to a parish conference or retreat near you, world-renowned Catholic radio host Jerry Usher.
It's not enough to stop doing whatever it is that's keeping you from union with God. For most of us, there are serious issues that need to be addressed first in order to be able to embrace that life of virtue. All those things we're all called to, but which every one of us struggles to achieve.
Invite Jerry Usher today. Contact thirdmillenniummedia.com.
Catholic radio, I believe, is the greatest tool for evangelization that the church has today. And I know this because we hear from people all over the world that tell us all the time they came to faith in Christ, in the Catholic Church, through Catholic radio. Guy that lives right next door to you, he might not ask you about your Catholic faith, but he'll ask us. He'll call in and say, tell me about the Catholic Church.
Dr. David Anders thinks Catholic radio is important. So should you.
In Ireland right now, we are facing a serious crisis. The agents of the culture of death are attempting to have abortion legalized in our country. We cannot allow this to happen. In these moments, we are asking the EWTN family to join with us in prayer.
To join in prayer and to find out how you can help the pro-life movement in Ireland, go to EWTN in Ireland at ewtn.ie.
This is Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, and we're talking about parenting with purpose. Just want you to remember that the Holy Sacrifice of the Mass is daily on EWTN every morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. So don't forget that, because it's very powerful. The Eucharist is our source and summit of our faith, and it's just, and to be able to benefit from spiritual communion, if you can't physically make it to Mass, then it's just wonderful that we're able to hear the Mass or see the Mass on EWTN at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Okay, Jerry, I'm excited to get to the calls because I think we're going to learn a lot, and I think we're going to be able to add to the conversation as well, because we were kids once.
Sometimes we're still kids.
That's true. I was hoping you'd say that.
So where we go?
Okay.
Let's go to Susan. Okay, as promised, we'll go to Susan first in Scranton, Pennsylvania, listening on JMJ Radio. Hi, Susan. You're up first today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hello. Great to be with you.
Likewise.
You know, I'm calling because of the topic of, at least a sidebar topic, is raising a free-spirited child. And my daughter just turned 21 yesterday. She's my only child. I had her very late because I was a career-minded feminist. I was not in the church, and I didn't raise her in the church, although I got her I did have her baptized, and I did bring her for her first Holy Communion and first confession, but I was not Catholic in raising her. She was a very free-spirited child. We did speak about God and goodness and that train of spirituality, and that part did come into bear fruit. She is very conscious of her relationship with God, even related to some of the things she's been through over the years. But having turned 21 yesterday, I am just so proud of her. And so honestly, I'm calling to honor her for her perseverance, her courage, her strength, her character, her love of people, and her love of God.
Beautiful, Susan.
So that's all I have.
Well, it's not. Well, not yet. Don't go yet, because maybe you could just do a little shout out to your daughter, first name, and you can shout out on her birthday, and then you can save this broadcast and play it for her every year for her, and that's a nice little gift. So take it away.
Well, wonderful. So, Ayla, this is your mother speaking, a very proud, but way beyond that, very blessed mother to have you as her daughter. And please continue on the path you're on. You are coming closer and closer to God, and you know my prayers for you to come back to the church, to be a practicing Catholic. You and I talk about it frequently, and I know you're on your way, honey. So God bless you every day and always. I love you.
Wow, that was beautiful, Susan. Ayla, you said, is your daughter's name? Ayla?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Well, Ayla, we send our prayers and best wishes to you as well. And I just want to applaud you, Susan, because you did exactly what we're talking about today. You parented with purpose. Now, you said, you weren't always all that close to God and you weren't practicing Catholic, but you had those conversations about God with Ayla. And I'm sure there were many other times when you talked to her about, like you said, truth and goodness and being kind to people. And these are the seeds that you planted by parenting with purpose. And what's beautiful is I live in a desert area too, and right on my back patio, I'll go out there some days, and all of a sudden I see this new, beautiful, flowery bush that is just sprung up out of nowhere. I didn't do anything. What happened is the wind blew some seeds from some plants over there into that spot, and they somehow got a little bit of water, and there you go. And so this is how, Debbie, I think God works. The Holy Spirit works. We can, as long as there are seeds available and they are planted, they are going to bloom someday. And I have every confidence that Ayla is going to be a wonderfully contributing member of the church.
I couldn't agree more. And Ayla, happy birthday, sweetheart. 21 years. You got the whole world is in front of you, and it's just wonderful. And Susan, I agree with Jerry. You instilled the golden rule, and I think great things are ahead for Ayla. And you're a beautiful mom. You could hear your heart coming through of how much you love your daughter. So God bless you for that, Ayla. I hope you have a beautiful birthday. Hope it's memorable. And we'll thank God today that you were born, Ayla, because, let's face it, a lot of kids, a lot of babies don't make it. And when we make it in the world, it's a miracle in and of itself. And that's awesome. So thank you, Susan.
Thanks, Susan, for the call. We appreciate that. 833-288-3986. If you've got, I guess you could call it a parenting philosophy. I know it's got to be in flux, so to speak, because no two children are alike. But how do you go about parenting? And, another dynamic, too, Debbie, is, there are different dispositions within kids. You've talked about that with your two sons. Some parents have special needs children, and that comes into play in terms of how you parent with purpose as well. So, Ellen, we're going to hear from next in Itasca, Illinois, listening on Sirius XM 130. Hi, Ellen. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Hi. Thank you very much. I am a first-time caller. I really do enjoy your show. I'm in sales, and I tune in whenever I can, so I'm in my car a lot. But my husband and I are married 35 years. We have 5 amazing kids, and they're just great people. They're grown adults now. And there is no one discipline that works perfectly well for each one. You have to tweak it along the way. But the one thing, I know I did a lot of things wrong, but the one thing I did right was tell them I love them every single day. And today, before we hang up the phone, we're saying it to each other every phone call. Goodbye, I love you. And I never forget to tell them how great they are. So I'm very, very blessed, very fortunate.
Wow, 5 children. I love the way you started off saying my amazing kids. I mean, it's so beautiful. I love that you do that, Ellen, that you share with your kids every single time when you say bye for now, you say I love you, and that's awesome. What I just wanted to share too, because that's interesting. I used to also say when my kids used to go out the door, I don't know where I got this from, but I think it might have been from my mother. I used to always say, I love you too, because we used to do that too. But I used to also say God loves you. And I wanted them to always remember that for some reason. I just felt like if they were in trouble or something happened, just to remember that God loved them. And I just, so I don't know if that, you probably could do both. You probably could say I love you and then also that God loves them. But not what your kids are older, but I'm talking about when the kids were little. But go back to this real quickly about the different forms of discipline for each child. I mean, so you would agree, you have 5 children, you got 5 different personalities. I mean, you kind of got to tailor it to each personality, correct?
Oh, yes, absolutely. No question about it. But our kids are very close in age, and I will say this. I had 3 in high school. They all went to Catholic schools, grade school, high school. And if I disciplined one and missed something about the other, they sort of disciplined each other, which was so helpful. If I missed something, I guarantee you my son, he caught it. If his sister was doing something wrong, he helped me out, and he'd tell her not to do that again. So people always worry about having kids so close together, but there's a real benefit.
positive peer pressure from siblings. I love it, and I love the fact
Yeah.
too, Ellen, that you used to and still do say that you love one another when you finish a conversation. You may be familiar with the name Patrick Coffin. He was the host of Catholic Answers Live for many years, and I follow him on Twitter. And his father passed away. Let's pray for his father Jack's soul. This has been within about the past week, and one of the tweets he sent out, Ellen, was he said. I'm dealing with the loss of my father, and he said, say the things, friends, say the things. You know, and you know what he meant. He said, say what you need and want to say when you have the opportunity, and you did that, and that's fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
what also?
for sure.
Go ahead.
I was going to say one other thing. In this texting age, I will send a text to all my kids telling them how great they are and go today and make a difference in the world. And, just those little things of encouragement, it's just so great. It's a way to express and get my message to all my kids. And they don't have to have a conversation in front of their coworkers. They can just read that little message.
Right on. Wow, so you're providing that reinforcement, Ellen. That is fantastic, and
sure.
I'm sure they're all great young men and women. Thank you, Ellen, for joining us and for sharing and inspiring us. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, real quickly, Ellen, we keep a book. We pray for the whole Take Two family and their intentions, and we also pray for those that are deceased. But I added you to the book because at the beginning you said that you're into sales. So just because I was just talking to a priest this morning, and he said you got to be very specific with God, and you got to lean on God for everything. So I put Ellen in the book for your sales career that you're in, that it's prosperous, Ellen. So just thought I'd let you know that we're going to be praying for that as well. You didn't ask for it, but I just put you in. Sound good?
Have a great day.
All right, thanks,
Thank
Ellen.
you.
Bye-bye.
And we'll right back to the calls here in a minute. Debbie, one thing else that I picked up, and again, I've never been a parent, but I picked this up listening to Ellen, and it just makes sense. Parents are students. That's the phrase that came to my mind. You have to be learning all the time. Your kids are teaching you. And what I mean by that is, like she said, there has to be a different approach to parenting each child, and you have to be observing that child, watching that child. Of course, you live with that child, and over time, you learn what's going to be best for them by observing them and seeing what's going to fit for them versus their other siblings. So parents are students also within the family, I think.
True. That's very true. And Jerry, our friend Kelly Mast, I was listening to her recently, and she gave some phenomenal advice to a parent that said, what do I do about the fact that when my children get older and they become adults, they start to just kind of tear apart their childhood, and, oh, mom and dad, you should have done it this way. You shouldn't have done that. You should have done this. And Colleen said, listen, if you're giving your all, if you're doing your best with the information you have right in front of you, then there should be no reason why, people should try to nitpick and try to tear it apart. Just do the best with the information you have at hand, and give it over to God. I thought Colleen's advice was so not only practical, but it was very, very profound in the sense that, because I think sometimes as parents we beat ourselves up thinking we could have done better,
Indeed. All right, let's go back to your calls. Adriana in McKinney, Texas. Hi, Adriana. Welcome to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie, talking about parenting with purpose. What would you like to share?
Hi, how are you guys?
Fine, Adriana. How are you? Go right ahead.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if you can hear me. I'm driving, so I'm sorry if I lose your
No, we got you just fine.
But I wanted to share with you, I have a fourth grader and kindergarten, 2 girls. And my husband and I, after a lot of discerning, decided we wanted to switch them from public school to a Catholic school. And my fourth grader went through a lot. She didn't want to. She hated it. She complained about it all the time. She's about to finish her first year of fourth grade, and now I feel like she's a little bit more comfortable. She likes it. She doesn't complain as much anymore. And then just recently, the other day, we were driving past her old school, and she started talking about how she wished I would have never changed her because she wanted to go back. And then I started thinking, gosh, did I make the wrong choice? Am I being overprotective? Should I have let her help out with choosing if she wanted to stay? But I don't know. Something inside of me just keeps telling me this is the right thing. We did the right choice. And then to top it off, I have a some siblings that are not close to our faith, even though we were all raised the same way. And one of them specifically also has children around the same age, and she constantly tells me how I'm just being overprotective, that I'm trying to keep her away from dangers that she's going to eventually approach, and that I shouldn't have done that, that I shouldn't have changed her, and that I'm doing the wrong choice. And I'm kind of like, whoa, well, what should I do? Am I okay? Should I continue? She's going to 5th grade. She seems okay up until the point where she remembers she wants to go back to her old school. Mm-hmm. But the little one loves it. The little one says nothing. The little one, this is her school, and she loves it, and she's ready for kindergarten.
Right.
So I just kind of wanted to share how hard it is to make the right choice as a parent.
Well, and Adriana, when you say the right choice, how do you know until it's finished? I mean, see, here's the thing. I mean, my kids went to public school. I thought at that time it was the right choice because it was a great neighborhood school, and I wished I had put them in Catholic school, which I originally was my original thought, and then I got talked out of it by family and friends, put them into public school, and so what is the right choice? I think this, from just a practical standpoint, and we're not counselors or trained therapists or anything, but that's a difficult age for your daughter to get switched at 3rd or 4th grade. So I can understand that because she has the memory of the experience of the public school. Adriana, do me a favor. Hold on, because we're gonna hit the pause button. You hear the music. When we come back, Adriana, if you'll stay with us, and we'll take more of your calls at 1-833-288-3986. We're talking about parenting today on Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
How about this? Apple TV allows you to instantly stream EWTN to your TV. Get EWTN today. It's easy. All you need is a high-speed internet connection, a TV, and the Apple TV player.
Teresa Tomeo.
It's our goal to help each and every listener take this beautiful faith of ours out into the public square with great ideas on making a difference through engaging the culture.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
It's time for Family Man with Dr. Gregory Popchak.
Did you know there are 2 kinds of tantrums? The first type, distress tantrums, are the most common in children 4 and under. They aren't the result of children trying to manipulate you as much as your kids being overwhelmed, overstimulated, or frustrated. The best cure for distress tantrums is bringing your child to a quiet place and providing lots of loving attention to help your child calm down and come back online. The second type, manipulative tantrums, occur in children who are old enough to have good self-control but still use drama as a tool. The best way to respond to these tantrums is to calmly place the child in a quiet, safe timeout place until he's calm enough to apologize sincerely, accept your direction, and rehearse the more appropriate alternative with you. How long are they in for? Well, that's up to them. Want more tips to make discipline easier? Check out my book, Parenting with Grace. I'm Dr. Greg Popchak, but you can call me Ben.
To discover more ways faith can enrich your life, visit CatholicCounselors.com.
It's May 9th, and on this day in 1608, Pope Paul V canonized St. Frances of Rome. Many trials in her life, including the loss of her husband, son, and family property, only served to increase her devotion to God. Also today, the Church recalls St. Beatus, also known as the Apostle of Switzerland. He was converted to the faith by St. Barnabas and eventually ordained by St. Peter. He traveled to Switzerland to preach the gospel until his death in 112 A.D.
Hi, this is Cy Kellett. Later today on Catholic Answers Live, open forum for non-Catholics, both hours. Steve Ray will be here. First hour, Tim Staples. Second hour, Catholic Answers Live, 6 p.m. Eastern, here on EWTN Radio. Now back to Take Two with Jerry and Debbie.
Jerry Usher with Debbie Georgianni. It will be my extreme pleasure and an honor to host for Cy today with Steve Ray and Tim Staples on that show, The Open Forum for Non-Catholics, filling in for Cy Kellett on Catholic Answers Live. So please join us, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Adriana, we're going to get right back to you. I just want to remind others of you, we have an open phone line, and we're talking about parenting with purpose. We want to hear your successes, maybe some of the challenges that you faced or are facing trying to raise your kids, each one of whom is different in disposition and so forth. 833-288-3986. 833-288-EWTN. Maybe you've got your own story to share about how you chose the educational path for your children or specific child, public, private, Catholic, homeschooling. Do you discuss decisions with your kids? Is it kind of a democratic process, although, of course, you retain, final decision-making power and ability? How do you hand on the faith to your kids? What if they don't want to go to Mass? What if they say they don't want to be confirmed? Do you kind of make them do those things, or maybe they're eager to do those things because you've planted such wonderful seeds? So share your parenting with purpose philosophy, 833-288-3986. Okay, Debbie, you were sharing with Adriana, so take it away.
Yeah, I have a quick question for you, Adriana. Thank you so much for holding. So your older daughter, she has the memory of her public school. The kindergarten child, this is a new experience, so she's benefiting from Catholic school. May I ask, did your older daughter, what prompted you to change them to Catholic school? Did something happen in public school that made you and your husband think to switch the kids?
Yes, a couple times she would come home and talk to me about why other kids didn't believe in Mary, and that amongst themselves they had a conversation, and she didn't understand how they couldn't. And then I asked her, well, what did you tell them when they told you, why do you believe in our Blessed Mother? What was your reply? And one time she told me that she said to the kids, well, do you like s'mores? And the kid said, yeah, I like s'mores. And she said, well, how are you going to eat a s'more without a marshmallow? It makes no sense how you would do that. And I said, well, that's a great reply. And it happened various times to where I guess for some reason it became a conversation among them. And she would come home and ask me about it. And that's when I started thinking, with all the society changing and social media being so active and just so many things going on now that are completely different than when we were children, we just thought it was best to make sure we kept her with people that believed in the same thing, and where she would hear positive things about, our faith, and that she wouldn't question it, and that she wouldn't have doubts about it.
Okay.
Which I know, like my sister says, it can come up anyways. And it could. In the future, it could. I mean, she can have her doubts once she's grown and she figures out on her own. But I just thought it was my duty to be able to at least put the root in her and hope for the best, pray for the best.
Right. So you made that conscious decision. Here's the thing I just wanted to share. I've heard great stories, and vocations have come out of young men and women who have gone to public school. Vocations have come out of young men and women who've gone to Catholic school. So there's great educational experiences in public school, homeschool, Catholic school, private school, charter schools. Okay, we know that. My kids, one of my sons had a great education at a public school. I moved the other son to a different public school. He didn't have he didn't have as good of an education. My niece went to Catholic school. She's no longer a practicing Catholic. Okay, so it doesn't always guarantee the outcome is not always there. So this is me personally talking sister to sister and mother to mother. You make a good decision, a sound decision between you and your husband for your children, and you build on that. And you don't necessarily think that everybody else is going to take care of the situation with your children or the world's problems. It really starts in the home. And I'll tell you what, I got that affirmed today by Bishop Thomas. He was with us today at Annunciation Radio, Bishop Daniel Thomas, and he is amazing. And he was sharing, it begins right in the home. And the home is where it starts and where it ends in the home, because it has to happen right there. And the rest of the stuff are encounters that we go out into the world and encounter, whether public school, Catholic school, charter school, homeschool, whatever we're encountering, but it has to start at the home. So it sounds like you and your husband want this for your children. You want your children to have a good, solid Catholic upbringing. And I say more power to you. I mean, I think that's awesome. And if it's in your means, I think that's great. The thing about it is I'm not a big fan of bouncing kids all around, so I don't know if you're even leaning towards bringing her back to the old school, but I would talk to counselors first, because I have heard that it doesn't always feel the same if they go back to the school, if they try it again. So I don't know if that helps at all, but hope it does. What do you think, Jerry?
Thank
Anything?
you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. What do you think, Jerry?
Yeah, I couldn't say anything better than you did. What do you think, Adriana? Does that what Debbie shared? Does that make some sense to you?
Yes, it did, and I appreciate it. I wasn't thinking about bringing her back. It was more trying to figure out how to. I don't want to say have her understand me, but for her to see we're not doing this to harm her, but to help her. And I tell her all the time, and sometimes she comes home and I tell her, "Did you have a good day?" And she'll say, "Yes, I had a really good day." But I think most of the time she's more like, "Oh, it's because of you. It's my fault that she is there."
Right.
So
right.
I guess I just have to pray on it, keep talking to her, and.
Yeah, and Adriana, maybe instead of saying, "Did you have a good day?" maybe you can every day when she comes home say, "Tell me one good thing, one cool thing that happened today, or one fun thing that happened today at school," and get her thinking along those lines, and then very possibly she'll be thinking about that throughout the day, looking for those things, looking for the positive, looking for the good things that she's experiencing at school, and then she'll come home eager to share those with you, and maybe she'd move away from even saying that I had a bad day. So there's another possible idea for you. So hopefully some of that helps, Adriana. Thank you for your call. We appreciate that.
Yep, we sure do. Thank you.
Hey, Debbie.
Okay. Yes.
Where are the dads? We've had all moms calling in on this parenting. All right, we know a lot of you guys are working and out driving on the road and stuff, but let's get a dad or two in here to talk about your philosophy for parenting with passion at 833-288-3986. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
No, I was just laughing because I was thinking my dad, who passed away in 2010, if he called in, he would say, "Jerry, you just need to give them the look. You give them that look." And then they'll behave.
Be a short phone call from dads, right?
Yeah. Okay, Danielle in Houston, Texas, on Guadalupe Radio Network. Hi, Danielle. Thanks for waiting, and welcome to Take Two.
Yes. Hi. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Well, I was hearing Adriana talking, and it really rings to my heart because we also have made a lot of decisions regardless our kids' education and. We have been homeschooled for 7 years, and we have 5 kids. And every same year, by May, June, we always discern about what we're going to do, if this is something that we are going to continue, if this is what God is, asking us to do. Is that so? Anyway, so we have been criticized because we have homeschool that our kids need, socializing, all that stuff. But we always are together in this, and we always say to our kids that whatever decision that we make is out of love, that sometimes you may not understand it now, but in the future, you're going to understand it somehow, but everything we made is out of love. And then we have our oldest daughter, she's in 7th grade, and we just have decided to send her to a charter school because we think we are ready, and she's ready to go, and she have her roots very well great in the rock. And at first she was kind of like, I don't know, I'm not sure about this. But sure enough, we tell her this is out of love. This is what we think is good for you now. And we always say we are not sending you to school by yourself. You're still going to have a home to get back. And you're going to continue what we were doing when we were homeschooled. And she's actually pretty thankful. She said, "Mom, thank you, because I have seen the difference. I'm happy. I like it. It's kind of like a homeschool, but just every day, and you just have homework all the time." But she is willing and open to have those changes. And I want to tell Adriana that no matter what people say, the decision about your kids, they have to know that you and your husband love your kids, and that you have to make sure that you tell them that you do it with love. That is not, there's no wrong decision, there's no right decision. It's if you really do it out of love, and that God knows how to put that seed in our heart. And we moms, we have that little voice that it's sometimes, we have to go with that. And yes, they're going to criticize you. Yes, they're going to tell you, "Oh, wow, you did change it. You're going to ruin her life." And you just said, David, that there's no guarantee. There's not a perfect homeschool. There's not a perfect school. What it will be perfect is God's love. That's the perfect. And that's what
Amen.
I try to kind of, I feel for her. I feel she's really kind
She's
of
torn.
hurting.
Yeah.
And I want to tell her, I hope she's listening and say, she knows, your daughter knows that you love her and your dad and your husband love her. You just have to maintain that faith, that roots, and say, this is what is good for you right now. We're protecting you for whatever reason she decided to take her to Catholic school, and just be brave. We have to be, right now, our secular world are trying to take us parents not to be brave enough and let us know that we are not doing the right thing, that we should not doing this for our kids.
Right.
So, but God,
Danielle, you set us up a couple things that I wanted just to highlight, and it's similar to what I was just sharing about Bishop Thomas from the Diocese of Toledo shared this morning on the radio. He was saying that it comes from prayerful parents. You and your husband prayed about things. You discerned. You took into consideration the family. You were making those decisions where, I mean, the family is the domestic church. You are the primary catechist for your children. There's so many times, I was a religious education coordinator for many, many years. I used to have parents, God love them all. Some of them would drop off their kids and they'd say, teach them everything they need to know. And I would turn around, I'd say, whoa, if you think I'm going to be able to teach them the whole entire Catholic faith, you're mistaken. This needs to be done in the home. And I can just enhance and I can add to it, but it needs to be done in the home. And that's what you're doing with your husband and your family, Danielle. And that's what Adriana's doing as well with her children. The thing about it is I've, as a junior high coordinator, kids would tell me all the time. We would ask the kids every single week, how was your week at school? And kids who loved their schools, they would have a bad week at school. They'd say, I hate my school. I wish my parents would take me out. Then the next week they'd come, I love my school. I'm so glad I'm in this school. It's a difficult age, and a lot of things are happening. So you do have to, I think anyway, you do as parents have to make the best decision for your children and have your children have enough trust in you that someday they'll thank you. Like I didn't thank my mother when I was in elementary school, going to Catholic school and having to wear a Catholic uniform when all my friends got to wear all these fun colored clothes and all this fun stuff, and I had to wear a uniform. But I thank my mother every day now. So I don't know if that makes sense, Jerry, but because you went to public school, didn't you?
I did for most of my schooling, yes. But Danielle, I would just say the fact that you totally and intentionally reinforce your thought processes and your decisions by telling your kids how much you love them, and you're doing this out of love and for their own good, that is going to stay with them. And like Debbie, I echo what Debbie said, they're going to thank you someday. Maybe a little bit unsettling, maybe a little confusing right now about some of the decisions that you make, but I really have to believe that they will thank you one day. What do you think?
Well, it is. I think it's kind of good. My daughter, who's now in a charter school, she already have seen what is to have a home to get to back and say, Mom, I just, today they asked me, for example, she doesn't have any iPhone, any nothing like that. And she's going to have, and we told, you're going to have some peer pressure that you have not been used to it. Like everyone now, every kid now have a cell phone. We don't have a cell phone. And she have that question, and she answered like, well, that's what our family do. I don't need one right now. I live with my mom. If I need to call her, I should find a phone, and I will call her. And she came that day saying, Mom, I was scared because, of course, I'm the new person, but I stick with what I believe. And they say, okay. And I say, you see, that's okay. That's okay. And I tell you, you're going to have a lot of peer pressure, but knowing that you have a home to get and that you are those doors are open. And I think that's right now, we young parents, as we are, we really have to let our kids know that those doors are open, that no matter what decision we make as a family, we stick together out of love.
Right. And Danielle,
I think the key now is love.
It is. And you said that she had the courage of her convictions, and her peers just said, oh, Oh, okay, that's cool. And see, when someone, even a young person, stands up confidently, not pridefully or anything in somebody's face, but if they're questioned or challenged on something, and they just simply say, "Well, this is how my family does it," very confidently, calmly, people are going to respect that, Debbie. I really have to believe, even young, peers, they're going to know when they're talking to somebody who is confident and is just very grounded, very solidly grounded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like you got a really strong family, Danielle, and I love that. And I love the fact that you take everything to prayer. And I think that's really important to pray about it, not just to react in certain situations. You are prayerfully developing your family, and that's going to have, I think, great long-term effects. And so more power to you, to your beautiful family. Thank you so much for calling in, and thank you for giving those words of encouragement to Adriana. I'm sure she's listening, and I'm sure that's warming her heart. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Daniel. Yeah, go ahead, Deb.
I'm sorry. Am I hogging today? I'm sorry.
No, not
I'm
at
in
all.
I'm in pledge drive mode.
You're the parent. I'm not.
Okay. Can I just say something about pilgrimages, because it's just so important. I think it was. Aren't you hosting today, Catholic Answers, and Steve Ray's going to be on?
Yep,
yeah, and he does pilgrimages. Pilgrimages are an awesome way and you can bring families on pilgrimages. It's just a great way to just energize yourself spiritually, in a sense, a spiritual renewal. So if you will, just pray about this. We're talking about prayer and discerning. Consider the Shrine of the Most Blessed Sacrament. That's where you can visit the final resting place of Mother Angelica. You can tour the EWTN campus, which is just an hour away. So if you're just praying about it, pray as a family, pray as a couple, and see if you want to go make that pilgrimage to the Shrine of the Most Blessed Sacrament. And you can start your Catholic pilgrimage today with EWTN. All you got to do is call 205-271-2966, or better yet, go to EWTN.com/pilgrimage.
You can post a comment for any show on take2show.com, and that's what Sharon did today. Sharon said parenting also includes other children other than your own sometimes, and we've done a show on this, Debbie. Sharon says, we were blessed to raise one of our granddaughters, and she's become more like a daughter of my own, and I love her dearly. We are grandma, granddaughter, grandma, mom, daughter, and really dear friends. What a blessing our children and grandchildren are. Thank you, Sharon. And Anne Marie on YouTube, EWTN's YouTube channel, says, I've noticed many children have become micromanaged, or have been micromanaged way too much, and they don't have any confidence in themselves, can't think outside of the box. So Anna Marie with an insightful comment there.
Right,
okay?
Right. We get great comments. I love when we keep the conversation going with all of these social media comments and texting and emails as well. Okay. Is Julie up next in Dallas, Texas on Guadalupe Radio Network? Hi, Julie.
Hi. How are you all?
Doing
great.
well,
How are
Julie.
you?
How are you?
I'm great. Listen, I just wanted to make a comment about parenting. I'm blessed to have 3 daughters, and they're all grown now and out of the house. But I am a Catholic convert, and I just wanted to encourage Catholic converts, if they have high school students like I did. My 2 youngest were still in high school when I made the decision to leave the Episcopal faith and come to the fullness of the Catholic Church. My youngest daughter was on board, but my middle daughter was really not. She didn't feel comfortable, and she really had a heart for a friend who was a non-believer and was going to a Protestant church with this girl to lead her. So after prayer and talking with my priest and the religious education director, I let them know that through talking with them and all, that I'd come to a decision to insist that my middle daughter go to CCD and get catechism training and go to youth group, but that on Sunday morning that I was giving her permission to go with her friend to the Protestant church and sit with her and bring her to the Lord. And I tell you, our pastors and our religious education directors and just good Christian mentors praying along with you and seeking the Lord's face are so wonderful, and I can't give enough credit to just how the Lord and the Holy Spirit just guide you and you just step out in faith and trust. And I will tell you, that middle daughter of mine is now 26 years old and is so incredibly faithful to the Catholic Church. And in fact, it didn't take very long. It was probably less than 6 months that she just began to see the beauty of the Catholic faith. And all of my daughters touch my heart, but she's just, I just saw her bloom, and just so grateful to God that he helped me kind of walk through that decision, because when they're in high school, you know, they're almost grown and they're making decisions, and as parents we need to help mentor them, because we've trained them from being small to learn how to think for themselves and grow and be thinkers and
right.
So I just wanted to
Julie,
encourage parents.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Julie, you did some fabulous things with your daughter, and that is what I mean. You did everything great, but I mean, there's some things that are just standing out, that are popping out for me. You took into the account, you prayerfully brought in the leaders in your community, your parish community, the religious education leader. You brought them in to help you find a supportive solution for your daughter at where she was at, so that you didn't push her, you didn't force her into the faith, you didn't push her further away, it was beautiful what you did. But I so much love what you did when you said, I want her enrolled in religious education classes, but yet she can still go be with her friend who she enjoys to be with. That is wonderful. I will tell you that I say thank you for doing that, and thank you for very intentionally, prayerfully thinking it out before you made that decision, because unfortunately our kids can be very strong sometimes, and some parents just cave in and they'll say, well, you know what, if they're going to church anyway, you know, at least they're learning something about God, let them just go. And I'll tell you, that's not always the right answer, and I know that because I've been on the receiving end of kids coming back to religious education when they've been just verbally brutalized about the Catholic faith, sometimes in other denominations, and they're devastated, and they don't even know where to go from there. But with your daughter, you gave her you gave her the outlet with her friend, but you gave her the foundation in the faith. And so I say thank you to that. I think that's really awesome, and always to remember. I hope I said that right, Jerry, because there's a lot of non-denominational churches that are really friendly to the Catholic faith, but I will tell you, there's a lot that aren't. They'll take little jabs, and it's very hurtful. And the kids who are Catholic are sitting there going, "Wow, I don't know what to do," and they
didn't know that about this faith that my family's been a part of. You know, that's what they're thinking. Mm-hmm. And all of it's sows seeds of doubt. So, Julie, I joined Debbie in applauding you for what you did, and I really think what's coming through loud and clear to me is you were very prayerful. Like Debbie said, you brought in the faith leaders that were a part of your life, but you also, really, with or without knowing it, you just let the Holy Spirit really work in your daughter's life. And you trusted that. I'm sure you wanted to keep those guardrails up, you know, so that she didn't stray too far. But you gave her these opportunities to spread her wings a little bit, and that freedom, like you said, to think critically for herself. And Debbie, now the fact that she is totally on fire for her Catholic faith, mm-hmm. I think she said at the age of 26, that is fantastic. Julie, thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
We've just simply run up against the end of the hour. So Marion and Mary Jane and the others, apologies, but boy, I wish we were going to be able to get to you. Email us at take2@EWTN.com.
Okay, so tomorrow, can I talk about tomorrow's show for a second? This was a great show, by the way. But tomorrow's show, you know, Jerry, I named our company, our ministry, our dog, Grace, because it's all about grace. And many folks don't realize this, but there's many definitions in the Catechism on different forms of grace. So we're going to talk about that tomorrow. It's going to be a fascinating show.
Looking forward to it. Again, wherever you happen to be, if you have not yet supported your local Catholic radio station, it's that time of year, pledge drive season. Please do. And Jerry Usher here. I will be on Catholic Answers Live, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Steve Ray, Tim Staples taking calls and questions from non-Catholics. So join me.
We'll be listening, Jerry. Thanks so much, you guys. Keep the conversation going, and until tomorrow, have a beautiful and blessed day. See you real soon.